Hello, everybody. My name is Taylor Stanley. I'm the Family Engagement Specialist for DC Public Schools. This is my daughter. She's joining me as my co-host today. I'm so glad to have you all join us, especially as families of our youngest learners. As you know, that there are some unique challenges to managing stress, particularly when you have younger kids. And so I'm really happy to be able to host this workshop with you all for several reasons. One of them includes for myself as well. Off she goes. So to give you a little heads up about how to use Microsoft Teams, we have subtitles available. So what you can do is look for the gear icon in the bottom right-hand corner of the video player, select captions or subtitles, and then you can choose a language from the available options. And so it's a great way to be able to engage with more folks. We will also have a recording of this in Spanish online as well. So as part of Microsoft Teams, we encourage you to use the Q&A section. This is the place where you can ask questions, you can upvote other people's questions, you can also share insights that you might have. One of the intentions behind Parent University was to create a space for families to come together, share advice, learn advice, and hear from DCPS staff as well. We do ask that you abide by these community best practices. So assuming best intentions, going hard on ideas, not on people, and then accepting non-closure. We may not have all the answers today. We won't have all the answers today, but we do want to make sure that you do feel engaged in a way that meets your needs. So feel free to participate in the Q&A. Feel free not to and just to watch. I will say that this is a moderated Q&A, so for the flow of conversation, we may not be able to post every comment or question, but in case you see a question that you are interested in, for the answer, again, I encourage you to use that upvote thumbs up feature. So I'm really excited. It's been an amazing experience working with this man, José López-Ginel. He is the program manager for the Family Services team in the Early Childhood Education Division. Some of you might have seen him or met him before, and he does a wonderful job in supporting our families, again, of our youngest learners. And so I'm really excited to pass it on to him so that he can get to the part that you're here for.
Thank you, Taylor. I'm very excited to be here at Parent University. I've been working at the Office of Early Childhood Education for probably 8 years. I'm one of these managers. I supervise like 6 or 7 family services specialists that provide services to our family. You may have seen them around the schools. Our services are a broad amount of services. So we do case management, we provide parent engagement, we facilitate workshops, we participate in school events, we support schools with meetings, we help families with IEPs, RTI meetings. I mean, you name it, we're supporting our families, and we are located at different schools. So it's been an amazing work that we've been doing during the past probably 8 to 10 years. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about stress management. So we named this session, Get Your Stress Wings and Let It Fly Away. We recognize that recently, with all these changes and the environmental factors and the climate in our society, it's creating more stress than usual. So we're going to be going over certain things that may be helpful to deal with that stress. So some of objectives for this workshop will be, we want for you parents to understand what is a stress, because sometimes we use the word and we don't have a real understanding about what is a stress really and how it is manifested. We're going to talk about some of the major symptoms and how you can recognize that you are having so high levels of stress. It's important to recognize that there is some positive stress that is normal, it's part of our life, but there could be some chronic stress that can lead to some certain illnesses or conditions, and we want to avoid to get to that point. So we're going to try to identify at least 3 coping skills: psychological, cognitive, behavior, to deal with stress. We're going to go over certain specific strategies that you can use. Like, I'm going to name a few of them. You'll choose whatever fits to you, to help you to deal with the stress in your life. And the idea is that at the end, at least you guys can mention 3 healthy habits that can contribute to reduce the stress in your life. Remember, having habits will help long term to reduce the level of stress in your life. So first, I would like to start with a reflection. So let's take a look at this quote. The best weapon against stress is our ability to choose our thought over the other, one thought over the other. Think about it. It's telling us that the best way that we can fight stress is start here on our mind. What we are thinking, what are our thoughts, how we are thinking about the situations and the things that are happening in our daily basis. Keep that in mind as long as we move with this session, because our minds are powerful and our thoughts are related with our feelings and our behaviors. So think about how you are thinking, how you are approaching certain things, how your thoughts are helping to reduce the stress, or are they contributing to your stress? We're going to take a look at that later when we talk about changes. We're going to start defining the concept of stress. So what is stress when we talk about stress? So that here we have 3 general definitions. The first one tells us that the stress is a response of our brain to any demands or any changes that may happen in an environment. So many changes happen that trigger this response, including sudden changes. When we talk about taking a look at our situation right now, the fact that we're staying home, that we are like practicing social distancing, the fact that our kids are not being able to go to school, the fact that some people are getting sick around us, those are like changes that are accumulating and may cause stress if we don't know how to deal with them, or if it's hard for us to handle those changes. So it's a response. Our brain, our body is protecting itself, or creating creating like a response to whatever is happening around us. The most common definition of stress is basically a physical and mental and emotional pressure or tension. So we are talking that stress is not only on our minds, because it has some physical manifestation. We're going to go over some physical symptoms of the stress. When we talk about mental, it's always about our feelings, how we are approaching certain things, and of course emotions. If we are feeling happy, if we're feeling depressed, if we're feeling tired, if we're feeling frustrated. So another definition could be a condition or feeling experienced when a person perceives that the daily demands, the things that we have to do every day, are exceeding our social resources, what we are able to do. And if the daily demands exceed what we are able to do, they have some consequences of our function level. So we start like, I don't know, feeling more tired. We start feeling sleepy. We're not that productive at work. We're not being like focused at home. We're not even sometimes taking care of the babies the way that we used to do. So those are things that are part of our functional, and the daily demands may affect our functions. So when we talk about changes, we can talk about positive and negative changes. Both can produce stress. Like a positive change, I don't know, you're getting married, so it's positive because you are achieving something in your life, but it may cause stress because it's a change. It's something that it will alter your routine. It will alter what you are used to it. So negative changes could be that you have that you are ill, that you get sick, right, and you're not feeling well. The negative is something that doesn't make you feel right, doesn't make you feel good, and it may impact your life in a different way. So positive may give us some happiness, but again, it's give us some happiness, but at the same time, it may produce that anxiety that produces the stress. They can be a short term, something that happens right now, such as, I don't know, you just change your work and now you have to go to a different office. Or it may be something long term, like people who get like terminal illnesses or conditions that they have to live with them for a long period of time in their lives. We can talk also about a sudden death, someone that dies immediately in our family, unfortunate. So that's a quick change. And versus someone who has a terminal illness and we know that they're sick or they're in a hospital. So that kind of more long-term change. These changes can be moderate, like winning a race, watching a horror movie, sometimes climbing a roller coaster. They can be measures such as marriage, divorce, illnesses, or car accidents, or we can talk about things more extreme. When we talk about extreme changes, most of the time we're talking about people who have experienced severe trauma-related situations, such as the death in a family, a car accident, earthquake, other natural disasters, or including domestic violence or gangs violence. Most common stressors are personal changes. As we mentioned, it can be like financial problems. Like many people were unemployed due to coronavirus, and that has been unfortunate in the reality for many families. So that produced some financial issues to trying to figure out where I'm going to get the money to pay the rent, where I'm going to get the money to buy food, to buy the groceries, to buy clothes, to buy the basic needs for our family. Or sometimes the money that we are making is not enough to cover our basic needs. So that's something personal related with our financial. We talk about relationship problems when your husband or your partners are having some kind of issues, some kind of communication problems. Some educational aspects, if you are in a university that you may be, or college or school, you may feel like it's too much for you to work with the school projects. And transportation issues, that may be something that you need to get around the city, but you don't know how to use public transportation. Public transportation is not available. Or now in times of coronavirus, it may not be safe to be around on a metro or buses. So that's another example of transportation issues. When we talk about family changes, as I mentioned before, marriage, divorce, and including having babies, like for many people, like having kids for first time is a huge stressor. And some people, when they start having more babies and having 2-3 babies in a house, that can create a lot of stress for families. That's a move. People who decide to move to another state, another country, or another neighborhood, including in the same city, but when we are packing and trying to find a right place to live, that can cause us a lot of stress, a lot. Also, labor changes, getting a new job, new boss, new expectations, or as I mentioned, being unemployed. Environmental changes like natural disasters, epidemics, like we're talking about COVID-19 and how this situation has changed our lives. Now we're working from home. Now we're staying home with the kids longer. Now we need to figure out how to go and do grocery. Now we have to wear masks. So it's changing definitely our styles, our conducts, our behavior, and our feelings. Here we have some symptoms of stress. We can divide it in 5 major different areas. The first one, we're talking about emotional symptoms. When we're talking about emotional symptoms, think about how you feel. Like when you feel mad or you feel irritated or you spend a lot of time anxious thinking about how to solve certain problems. Some people get depressed, isolated, stay home, doesn't want to spend time with other people. And in some cases, people like have this constant desire of being crying, and there's no apparently reason, but if you take a close look, it's related with the stress and all the things that may be happening around that person's life. Physical, remember the stress is not only emotional. You're gonna start seeing some physical symptoms, muscle tension, headaches. A lot of people with a stress have a lot of headaches. Like we're talking with families who are trying to help the kids through the distance learning and do some work at home, and then by the end of the day, they're complaining about having constant headaches. And it may be related with all that stress during the day, trying to balance the work that they're doing, taking care of the kids, and helping the older kids to do the homework online. Headaches, indigestion, blood pressure. Blood pressure can go up when we are under a lot of stress, and it may take time to regulate it again. And changes in weight. Some people gain weight, some people lose weight. It may be the consequences of the stress as well. When we talk about behavior, we can see some negligence, not only on taking care of other people, but on ourselves. Like people tends to some changes in a pattern. People tends not to shower as often as they do. I don't know, putting makeup up, brushing their hair. So that kind of like physical appearance, people start neglecting those things. Also in a house, like some people get like that stressed out that they stop doing what they have to do, like home chores, house chores, or taking care of family members that they were taking care. The lack of productivity, people are not feeling that they're productive every day, that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, either at work or in their personal life. Nightmares, like people wake up in the middle of the night screaming, or having insomnia, having difficulty going to sleep. So that's part of the bucket of the behavioral symptoms. We talk about the cognitive. People tend to stay distracted when you have a lot of stress. Like you can't focus. You have all these negative thoughts. You have concentration problems, and you sometimes can't even remember certain things. And you start like wondering why I'm forgetting things. That never happens to me. It may be because you're facing a lot of stress in your life. And finally, we have the relationships, the way that we interact with other people when we are under stress may change. We become more intolerant. We wish to be alone most of the time, or we want to be alone most of the time, which sometimes is hard when we're taking care of all the kids that are at home now and they can't be in school. We become a lot of impatient, and sometimes we are try to control other people. Our stress or our anxiety may also try to control our husband, our partners, our people around us, because we are so under this pressure that we feel that controlling other is a way that we can manage stress. Coping strategies. We're gonna go over some general coping strategies. The first one, we can divide it in three categories. The first one is the physiological coping strategies. When we talk about physiological, we're talking about controlling our breath. Basically, when we are facing a stress, sometimes we go over a period that we feel that we're not breathing properly. Some people call it anxiety, panic attacks. So it's very, very important that if we notice those things, we start practicing our breathing. Take a moment in the morning, take a moment during the day, take a moment in the evening and practice. Have 2 or 3 breathing exercises so you can start managing your breathing. And of course, if you're facing any anxiety or any panic attack, like just take a moment, breathe deeply, walk for a little bit, breathe deeply again, and practice. Have this like as part of your routine. Relaxation is very, very important. There is multiple ways you can relax. You can play music, you can play some meditation music, or just lay down on the couch for 2 or 3 seconds. I recognize that sometimes it may be hard when you are taking care of your children, but as long as you can and you are able to do it. Sometimes what I do with my friends' kids is like I'll play with them that we're gonna take 2 seconds to be quiet, or we play the game and the winner will be the one who can last longer without saying anything. And then kind of playing a game with the kids will help you a little bit with this kind of like taking that minute to relax a little bit. Diet and exercise, that's very important that we have to watch what we eat, and we're gonna talk a little bit deeper about it. Sleep management, just watch how you're sleeping. Some people take journal and then write something before they go to sleep, and that helps them to fall asleep. And change the environment. If you notice that something in your environment is not allowing you to feel relaxed, or there is something in the environment that is causing the stress, make sure you make the proper adjustment about that. Cognitive emotional, challenge your thinking. If you notice, if you observe that you are using a lot of negative statements or negative thoughts, and you're feeling that things are not going right, if you're feeling you're thinking that you're not doing things right, or you're thinking like in such a negative way, challenge those thinking. How you can make it better? Like what can you do, or what can be different? Control your emotions. Very, 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 very important, especially when we talk, that you can get irritated or you can get frustrated. So work on those specific things. Use a positive thinking. I know that sometimes it's really, really hard to have a positive thinking when we are dealing with a lot of such bad circumstances, and we're just watching media, and what we see on the media is a lot of negative things. But I always try to find a positive dot in everything that you do and everything that is happening. In self-awareness, just be aware of what is happening with you. Be aware of the changes. Be aware of the symptoms that we discussed, and be aware of your behaviors. And then the final one, the behavioral, time management is very important. I always tell this to the parents, like try to see what you have to do during the day. Do not overcharge your daily schedule, because you may have like so many things that you have to do during the day that you get frustrated at the end of the day if you don't do that. Or you may be so stressed out during the day because you have a huge list. So be careful with your to-do list and how you're spending your day. Act and relax, be assertive. So be assertive, say what you are thinking, say what you need, ask for help if you need it, say no if you think you can't do certain things, work with others, so ask for help, and change or modify your behavior if you think that your behavior is contributing to your stress. And next. All right, we're gonna go over some stress management strategies. I'm gonna go one by one and give you some example of that. The first one is saying no, which is hard because sometimes we want to please people, we want to help people, or simply we feel obligated to do certain things. So make sure that that you learn to say no. If you can't do it or you feel that you are busy, just say no. Avoid people who causes you stress, people who are always demanding things of you. Take control of your environment, take control of your decisions. Don't feel obligated to do anything. Like for example, like if you feel obligated to help someone, but you know that you're not going to be able to do it, you can be honest and say, I can't do that right now, because what you're causing is taking a responsibility that may be not your responsibility. Or talk to people. I know that many of our parents want to be very involved in a school, and they have to manage their time, going to work, be involved in a school, be in meetings, participating in workshops. And sometimes all of these things causes stress. Look, have a conversation with the teacher, have a conversation with the school administrators, or people who are involved, and explain your situation. That's part of saying no. It's part of being assertive and explaining your circumstances. So avoid controversial issues. If you are feeling overwhelming with a particular topic, or with things that you really don't want to talk, don't feel that you have to actually talk about those things, because that will cause a lot of stress. So it will be easier for you to avoid those things that you don't actually need to talk about it. I always mention social media. Social media can be a lot, like very, very overwhelming. If you are looking at Facebook, Instagram, and then you are reading about all the things that are happening, People get a lot of stress about reading these things. So avoid those things. Avoid like overseeing things for controversial issues. And again, reduce that to-do list. Like, be honest with yourself. What are you going to be able to accomplish during the day? Remember, having the kids at home reduce your time probably half of what you had it before, because now you have to manage the kids' behavior. You have to manage what the kids are doing, plus the work or the things that you have to do at home, including house chores. Change the situation, and I have to acknowledge that there are circumstances that are out of our control. But to change a situation, what it means is like we need to first be able to express our feelings. Being able to look at ourselves and say, hey, like Jose, you're really feeling stressed and overwhelming today, and kind of like be aware of what's going on. So express your feeling. If you have a partner, a friend, a family member, you're living with someone else, being able to tell them how you are feeling in that particular moment will be the first step on changing your situation, because it's hard for people to understand what you are going through unless you have that open conversation with the people who are around you. Be willing to commit. There's certain things we can change, and there's certain things that are out of our control. So we need to kind of like be willing to accept certain things and negotiate with ourselves. What are the things that I'm able to do? What are the things that I'm not able to do? Manage your time management. Do not overcommit. What I said, learn how to say no. And the most important one, to change your situation, if you are dealing with a lot of stress in your life, ask for help. Sometimes we tend to say, well, I'm by myself, I don't have that much help, but try to think about who can be your support system. It can be a friend, it can be a community, a teacher, someone around you. And I know that we are dealing with social distancing, but with technology, we can communicate with other people. We can talk, we can ask, we can be in contact with the people who can support us. Strategy number 3, adapt to the situation. I mentioned it before. There are certain things that are out of our control, and we just have to adapt to that situation. It may be hard at the beginning, but it's a matter of creating new routines. When we started with the distance learning and the kids started home, I know for sure that it was really hard at the beginning. So the process that we all had to go through, it was just that adjustment, like creating routines for the kids at home and trying to help them to get the learning that they needed using the different technology equipment that we have. Rephrase the situation, rephrase the problem. Many people were like complaining about staying home because now we're locked in the house and we can't do many things. So I encourage many friends to rephrase that. Now we're spending more time in our house. Now we can do all the things that we were not doing before. And now we can take advantage of other things that we were not taking in the past. So rephrase the problem, rephrase the situation, try to look from a different perspective. Try to look for the entire picture of what is happening. Adjust your standards. Sometimes we have high standards. Sometimes we want for our kids to do a lot of things in one day, but those are our standards. So we need to look about our capacities and the circumstances surrounding us to adjust those expectations to those standards. I know that for those who have teenagers, like we want for our teenagers to do a lot of things at home, especially because now that we're spending a lot of time at home. But they have other things to do as teenagers, and we need to understand those things as well. So focus on the positive, focus on those things that are important in your life. So strategy number 4 is accept things you can change. Don't try to control things that are uncontrollable. Like I was telling my parents live in Puerto Rico, and they're still dealing with a lot of tremors and earthquakes there, and my dad was so worried about it, and I said, listen, you can't do anything about that. The fact that there is an earthquake and you're still having shakes and tremors, you can't change that. What you can do is to take measures to make sure that you have a safety plan, that you can leave the house. So you can control certain things, you can't, but certainly you can develop something that will help you to deal with those circumstances that you can control. So look at the bright side, look at the tools, look at the things that you have that can help you with those situations that may be uncontrollable. Think about the opportunity, and again, important, and I have to say that, share your feeling. It's always good to express how you're feeling, because that will help you to kind of relieve that tension of that stress. So take time to have fun and relax. This is one of my favorites, because we are so busy. We're working all the time. We had a lot of commitment, and even we are teleworking or we're staying home with the kids, we feel that we are so busy that we don't have time to have fun. So make sure that you plan something fun with your kids. Be creative, like watch a movie, have popcorn, involve them in the cooking process in the kitchen, and make it as funny as possible. Connect with your friends. Use the social media if you have access to social media. Friends, neighbors, do something that give you happiness. Sometimes, like reading a book, if you like to read a book, or coloring a book with your kids, can be a fun activity that will reduce like that tension, and maybe put you in a different space for that period of time that you're doing the activity and the exercise. Keep your sense of humor, like watch a comedy, try to do something that make you laugh. Some healthy ways to keep yourself relaxed. We encouraging people to go for a short walk. You don't have to walk long distances. We can say half an hour can be a good exercise. Now that we can be like in closed places, it's good to go and just have a walk. Walk around your neighborhood. Walk around a park. So do some physical movement. So that will help with your body and your mindset. Spend time on the nature. Talk to your friends. Use the phone, text them, go use like FaceTime or WhatsApp or all these apps that have like a certain way to use videos. Taking a long bath, that being in the bathroom. And I know my best friend said I can't take a long bath because I don't have anyone who can take care of the kids. But you can probably bring the kids to the bathroom and give them a bath, and then that will help you to relax and distract your mind. Some people use incense and essences or some other in the house. Some people drink coffee. Other people drink hot milk. I prefer the hot milk. If you have a pet, play with your pet. Work in the garden. Some people like massages. Other people like to read book, listen music, watch some shows, some comedy. There is a lot of shows on TV that are kids friendly, and you guys can watch it together with the kids. And once you're ready, you can go to the gym or do some workout outside of the house. I recognize that gyms are reopening now, so it may be probably not possible at this point, but keep in mind the exercise and the workout, so that will reduce the stress definitely. Adopt a healthy life. So this is more like a long term. Like if you're dealing with a stress now and you implement some of these techniques or strategies and you try something new, think about long term. How you can make it part of your life. How you can make it like a habit in your life. So mention an exercise, like not not only doing it when you feel stressed out, but also make it part of your life. Make it part of the routine, like 2 or 3 times a week. Make it as a goal for your own life. Try to reduce the sugars. Try to reduce the caffeine. Like you need to watch what you're eating. You need to watch what you are drinking. Avoid alcohol, any kind of cigarettes or drugs, because those things are toxins that get in your body and they have like some physical consequences. Get enough sleep. Watch your sleeping pattern. Usually people should sleep between 6 and 7 hours. For the youngest kids, it may be a little bit more. Keep a healthy diet, your nutrition, watch what you are eating. Make sure that you have some social support. Again, it doesn't mean that you have to have people immediately in front of you. Sometimes, like when our people live in different countries, as long as we stay in contact and communication and build those relationships, even we are at distance, that becomes part of our social support. Keep the sense of humor and press attention to the symptoms that we discussed. When we take a look at our diet, some recommendations: eat fresh meals. I know that when we have kids, we just go to frozen section and pull frozen foods, put it on a microwave, and that's the easiest way when we are dealing with kids and when we are working a lot and we don't have time to cook. But as much as you can, try to eat fresh meals. That's healthier and definitely like preparing the meals help you to kind of disengage of whatever we're happening during the day. Try to eat 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Sometimes it may be harder, but as much as you can, try to have it. It's slowly and take time to eat. We just sometimes grab a plate and we continue working, and we're working from home while we're eating, or we're eating in the middle of a lot of things that we're doing at home. Now, take time. Make that time to have like a calm, relaxed lunch or dinner. Resist the sensation to overreact, which means basically sometimes things happen and we just get upset and we reacted, and then after 15-20 minutes you are like, well, I didn't know why I react that way. Sometimes the kids do something at home and we get like frustrated and we start screaming or saying things that we shouldn't. So just try not to overreact to certain things. That will keep those levels low, and it won't escalate to the stress level. It 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 eat various meals, like make sure that you're eating variety, like different things in your diet. Drink water. Drink like liquids a day. There is a recommendation you need to get like about 30 ounces to 40 ounces of water. So make sure you're keeping yourself hydrated and you are drinking what your body needs. Make sure you eat snacks that are healthy, and be sure to include fiber on your diet. Then we have strategy number 7: meditation and relaxation. Um, this is really important, and I recognize that not many of us are good at this, because when we say meditation and relaxation, we always associate it with going to some place and do it. But there are certain things we can do at home. Um, you can practice abdominal breathing. You can close your eyes, lay down on the floor or on a couch, and practice those breathing. You can also visualize that you are in different places. There is a lot of good music on the internet about meditation, where you can hear the sound of the wave, the river, the nature. You can play this for 15 to 20 minutes, like before you go to sleep, and it helps a lot to relax and to calm down after like a very, very stressful day. I usually do it 15 to 20 minutes every day before I go to sleep, and I found myself it's very, very helpful, not only to get a good sleep, but also to relax and kind of calm down the stress of the entire day. And stretching techniques, like if you feel that your muscles are tense, so make sure you practice it. Sometimes in the morning is good, and before you go to sleep is good too. So there's few exercises. Unfortunately, I can't show you those exercises, but make sure you're stretching your muscle. If you go for a walk and you feel that the muscles are tense, make sure you stretch before you go and do some exercise. Some ways that are unhealthy to manage the stress, and I recognize that many people use these ways to manage the stress. So just for you guys to be aware of it and be careful if you see yourself getting into these behaviors. Smoking, drinking too much alcohol, spending long hours in front of the TV and a computer. So be careful. Like if you feel that you're just focused on computer and a TV, to get a check on those depression symptoms, what stress symptoms, what is going on around you, what is happening in your environment. People tend to isolate from friends and family, and that's not good, because you're not asking for help, you're not being honest with your feelings, and you're trying to deal with the stress like in a bubble, which is not healthy. Some people take a sleeping pill that may have some side effects or health effects, so you have to be very careful with that. Some people sleep too much, and sleeping too much causes procrastination. So you go to sleep, you don't do what you have to do, and then you wake up really late, or you fall asleep during the day and you don't do what you proposed that you were gonna do. So when you look at the things that you had to do and you didn't accomplish, you feel frustrated, and that's kind of adding and piling up on your stress level. Overloading the agenda, we want to do a lot of things, so we don't think about the stress and we don't think about other things. And what we are doing unconsciously is adding more stress to our life and taking away stress on others, such as courage, violence, and aggressiveness. So that's something that some people are, and we have to be careful with that. So here, like, I'll encourage you to practice, do this activity. Take time to think about and write down 3 ways you can change your lifestyle so you can reduce the stress. Think about the things that we talk and things that you can incorporate it again based on your conditions or your life situation. What can you do to actually reduce the stress, and what can you do to incorporate your kids as part of these techniques and strategies? Yeah, good. Like, any questions or opinions or any final comments?
I actually have a question, and as someone may come in, I'll definitely read them to you. My question is, what's the #1 piece of advice that you like to give families of younger children when advising them on managing stress?
Yes, little children express or manifest the stress in different way. Some of the kids cried a lot. Some of the kids start like hitting, some aggressive behavior, like throwing toys, or I would say the youngest one, the overcrying is more of the symptoms that something is really bothering them. So when we notice the symptoms, it's always good to reassure that they are safe in different ways. Remember, build that trust with the kids. Once they are able to draw and do some like creative activities, involving in those activities with them. My best friend's daughter is 5, and the other day I said, let's do something fun, and we started like painting rocks. And while we were painting, I was talking to her, and she's 5, very verbalized. So she was talking about why we can't go to the parks anymore. And then we were having these conversations about the COVID. I noticed she was stressed about not being in a park as she was. So involving them in creative activities. Kids like to be busy, and having a plan for them to spend the day. Like I said, like if they can be painting, or they can like doing some activities that you can be part of those activities. That's a way to reassure that you are there and develop that trust.
No, thank you. I was actually, you and I talked earlier, because strategy #1, saying no, is my favorite strategy. And I think that as families and parents of younger children, we're still working on finding that balance between being everything for everybody, and also maintaining our own sanity, so to speak.
For many,
are there any?
Many families we were working with, we created when the whole learning distance started, we created a very generous schedule for kids, and we started distributing to families and say, try to implement this schedule at home, like waking up, making your bed, brush, breakfast, quiet activities, so they can grab a book and look to the pictures, like art and craft. We also recommended to take the kids out for a walk 2 times a day, 3 times a day. We incorporated nap time on that schedule. So definitely creating a schedule for the kids helps. It will take time until the kids get to adjust to that schedule. Also, we recommend the parents to use the reinforcement system. Like if they could fulfill the entire schedule and they're successful at the end of the day, to reward the kids. Reward not necessarily with something physical. Kids like stickers, they like stars, or they like extra time outside. So all those minor things that rewarded that they were able to follow certain schedules during the day. One of my staff, she was having a lot of issues with her daughter, who is like 3 years old, to kind of like she was not going to daycare anymore, and she was trying to do some work, but she was having a hard time balancing it. So what we did is like we created this schedule of what her morning is gonna look like, and like TV. She wanted to be on a tablet all the time, and the mother didn't want to do that. So we created other alternative like things for her to do. Definitely walking in the morning and walking in the afternoon helped her a lot to reduce that stress that the baby was manifesting.
Yeah, yeah, and we actually have a lot of people in the comments who have really endorsed the idea of the daily walks. One person said, we do daily walks and a weekly family movie and pizza night. It's something easy and fun for the kids to look forward to each week.
I also will say kids like to be part, to be involved. That's what when you are on a virtual meeting, your kids wants to be part of your meeting. And it's because they like to be part of certain things. So I don't have kids, but I mean, my friend has her daughter, and every single time there was one time we made lasagna together. So I teach her how to put the pasta, and I delegated certain things according to her age that she could do in a kitchen. And involving them in all these different activities, it reduces their stress, especially again under the COVID-19 circumstances, and also they feel that they trust you. So later when you tell them to do something else, they feel that they can do it by themselves because they are spending time with you. Family movies, love family movies. I had to tell my friend's daughter we couldn't just watch a movie every other day because I can't watch a movie every night. But love that strategy. She's always expecting the movie night or the movie time together. So that's something I really, really love it.
Yeah, and I do like the idea of giving kids something to look forward to every day, or even every week, because especially now it's easy for the days to roll into each other. So yeah.
I'll say music too. Like we play music in a house. Even when I'm at my friend's house, like if I'm working on my computer, she's in her room, we're playing the music that she likes. So I keep her a little bit kind of busy and engaged with the music. And of course, she knows all the lyrics, but the music helps them to kind of, especially for those kids that actually love music.
Yeah, absolutely. We do music too, and music is also a good way to signal to your child how like transitioning for the day. So like you have a wake up song, you have a lunchtime song, you have a clean up your toys song, and so that is very helpful. We have another comment. If we are balancing work at home and childcare, what would be one or two things each day to provide a sense of normalcy and easy structure?
Say it again.
If we are balancing work at home and childcare, what would be one or two things each day to provide a sense of normalcy and easy structure?
I would say a morning routine for the kids. Like maybe you have to adjust to the morning routine for the kids is very important. The time that they wake up, the time that they have breakfast, and make sure that they have done everything they need to do before you get to work. Because sometimes we just wake up a little bit close to 9 and we want to open the computer, but we haven't given them breakfast. We haven't given them a bath. They haven't brushed their teeth. So a morning routine is very, very important. And when you're trying to balance work, make sure they have something to do. Like make sure that you have like in a schedule. Kids are very visual. If you can put it on a wall, for those who doesn't know how to read, you can use picture of what they're gonna be doing per hour or per time. So they can get their span of attention is really short. So you can't just say, oh, you're gonna spend 1 hour coloring a book. But at least you can say 15 minutes. And my friends and my staff that were using like alarms, they said, okay, I'm gonna set up the alarm. You're gonna draw until you get the alarm, and that gives you some time to get on your work, answer some emails while the kids is technically doing something. Keep them like keep them on a schedule that they know what they have to do. But definitely in the morning, that routine is very, very important prior you start working. So kids need to have their routine in the morning.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Is there one more thing that you'd like to share with families as a piece of advice?
I will say be creative. We can give you a lot of tips, but how you use it, that's part of the creativity, and it's unique to your special circumstances. Again, you just keep in mind that kids need routine, and they want to be part of your life. So keeping those principles in mind will help you to understand how you should start your day with the kids every day, and how you can balance your work having the kids at home.
Thank you so much, Jose. I'm going to be using some of your advice because I'm still trying to figure out how to create routines, how to manage my own stress as a parent. So I really appreciate it. You did a wonderful job, and you know, I hope that a lot of our families will take back what you've given and will use it and really will flex their creativity muscles in this. For my families, to wrap up, we do have some resources available for you at the bit.ly link, bit.ly/parent-you-stress. And that way you'll be able to access additional resources. We'd also like to get a sense of how we did. We have a survey that you can take at the link bit.ly/parent-you-eval19. Yes, Mama. If you don't have time to do it, we'd love to have you rate us right now on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 saying, you missed the mark, and 5 being like, oh, this is great. I want to come to every single one that you have. We'd love to get that insight from you. If you have additional questions or suggestions or ideas, in addition to filling out the survey, you can also feel free to email us. Questions that you might have, topic suggestions that you might have. Our ECE team does a really great job of family workshops, and so we want to see what else you might be interested in as well. We have a slew of workshops available on our YouTube page. And so you can visit our YouTube page at bit.ly/DCPS-parent-you-vids. These are all of our previous recordings from this year, and we hope to have more in the fall. But I really want to take time to thank Jose. It's been a pleasure working with you on this. Like I said, I'm going to use some of that advice, and I can't wait for my little one to start at DCPS so that I can keep asking you questions about how to support my daughter as she gets older. So thank you so much. Families, you are doing a wonderful job. I know that you are doing the best you can, dealing with your stress, dealing with the stress of your little one. And so have a great afternoon.